Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Social Media Fridays, episode number 86. Each week we meet here to talk about what happened last week in the world of social media. With us today we have Edwin Jonk. Edwin is CEO of IDESTHOST in the Netherlands. You can find Edwin on idesthost.nl. Masataki Wasa is the CEO of wasaweb.net in the UK. He's also a Google top contributor on the AdSense and also the Google Plus Help community. You can find Masataki at wasaweb.net. Meher Bhagat is a social media dynamo and human resources specialist from Delhi in India. I've forgotten your URL. You've got to give me a URL, Meher. And Tim Capper is Director of Search and CEO of OnlineOwnership.com. Tim is also a Google top contributor on the Google My Business Forum. You can find Tim at onlineownership.com. All right, our first question, or our first topic tonight. By the way, you can post topics of interest into the social media on Fridays community, and we'll talk about it. You can even join us to talk about it with us if you like. All right, this one was posted by Meher. Twitter restores PolitWhoop's API access, allowing it to post politicians' deleted tweets. I think it's a useful little thing. Comments, guys?
One of the controversial politicians, I think, was Donald Trump, and he recently deleted his couple of tweets, old tweets, I think from past 2 years, and PilotWhoop has been actually accessing those tweets, not just from right now. They've been working on this project for the last, I think, 2 years, and suddenly Twitter dropped the APIs, I think, 6 months ago, and recently gave them access again. But the thing is that PilotWhoop cannot retrieves those deleted tweets from last 6 months. That's something that I read about. But I think the transparency point of view is very interesting here, because politicians post a couple of things. Sometimes it's demeaning as well, but transparency helps, right?
Yeah, it makes you wonder. Although I can see a politician, they may adopt a different view, and they don't want something out there to show up their change of direction. But for most people, I wonder whether people think about what they post sometimes. Well, we know that they don't, of course. All right. If there are no more comments, let me move on to the next.
Yeah, I think next time I'll try if we can access this tool for other people as well. For right now, I've not accessed, so I have no idea. But I think it's an amazing tool. I'm going to close this here.
Yep. Okay. Next one. Google now lets YouTubers raise money for charity with every video. I thought that was always available. This is something new, is it, Meher?
Well, actually, it wasn't accessible to everyone. Not all the charities, even though if they were verified. Recently, what they did is they've actually given access to everyone who's a verified NGO and to collect charities. Initially, it wasn't there. It wasn't there even though if you were a verified charity YouTube channel owner, you couldn't collect. But now they've given access to everyone. However, there are still restrictions here. especially when it comes to countries. And another thing, only NGOs from US are allowed to collect charities, not anywhere else for right now. That's what I'm aware of. 1.8 million charities in US. That's a huge number.
And Google is covering the processing fees, so that's nice. I think before it was possible, but you have to pay the credit cards, right? The processing fees.
I'm not sure with the processing fee, but payment criteria remains the same. Credit card only, no debit cards.
And and it makes sense. It's for the US. They all have credit cards.
That's about one charity for every 150 people.
So I think, did you see donation cards previously? Because I think that's a new gig, right? That's a new gig that they brought up on this charity platform on YouTube. Donation cards.
I was wrong. I was thinking of the one where you can invite people to make a donation to a channel. I checked the box on Damasio questions that allowed people to make donations, but we haven't been knocked over in the rush. I don't think anybody's donated anything yet. Go ahead, Maher.
No, that's pretty much it. This even though for payment, collection of payment, and it's restricted. I mean, like for India is not there, Australia is not there. It's hardly a list of, if I'm seeing it right, 20, at most 20 countries. I mean, donation card is only available from, in 20 countries. That's it. Not much more than that. Such a pain. 21 to be exact.
Okay.
And you get an icon also on your YouTube channel. You can have they have introduced an icon with a heart. I think that's a pink icon, pink heart, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we can see that, right? That comes on your YouTube channel right upside on a corner that you can click and make donations right away. So I think that's good. Because if I remember, I did check out this feature, like, you were mistaken. So was I initially when I was reading this. They have been working on this charity platform, like bringing charity and keeping it open to collect donations. This was something that they've been working on for the last 3 years. Now this has finally been done. So welcome charity to Google, YouTube. That's pretty much it from my end. What do you think, guys? Have you seen that so far? Any YouTube video that pops up with the donation icon?
I don't live in the US, so.
No, but they're still collecting donation from Ireland and other countries as well.
Oh.
They're collecting from Netherlands also. They're collecting from New Zealand, Norway, Philippines, Poland, South Korea, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Taiwan, UK,
well,
US.
I only saw screenshots. I never saw it on YouTube.
Okay, let's move on to our next one. Facebook is bringing live streaming to everyone. I thought everybody had live streaming on YouTube for some months, but I'm yet to think of a valid use for it. There are people. I mean, I'm sure people exist where you'd like to dwell on their every word and sit there and vicariously live their life through their live stream. But I don't know whether everybody needs to live stream. Have you ever thought of doing a live stream, Tim Capper?
For what, mate?
A live stream, where people sit and listen to you talk.
Rambling on.
Yeah, just rambling on.
No, I haven't thought of doing that. No. No.
What about you, Mr. Taki? You could go and give us a blow-by-blow description of Wimbledon. Anyway, okay, so Facebook is giving every user live streaming capabilities, and that's not an inconsiderable expense. It requires an encoder to be provided, and great amounts of computing power to operate. It wouldn't have come cheaply, but YouTube handed it out, and so Facebook is jumping in and playing catch up.
Well, definitely, Jim. See, there's no doubt that Facebook isn't capable of doing this. They can easily do it, but when you have a notion of saying Facebook is basically trying to become social superpower on the internet, I want to use that word actually, because if you see, there are a lot of other apps and platforms that are coming up for live streaming, like Periscope. Periscope is there. They're also changing. If you see another post, they're also updating their sharing and streaming platform. But this is actually interesting because a lot of people have actually complained on Facebook that they also want to have access to live streaming. They go on YouTube, they go on other platforms, but Facebook hasn't given them still access because they're only giving access to verified accounts only for right now. I mean, like now it's open for everyone, but it's interesting because, slowly and steadily, somewhere down the line, that's what Facebook is trying to be, a social superpower. And I think it's going to give them actually an amazing boost.
Well, I think they already are a social superpower, although interesting. I see Mark Trepagan posted a survey from Business Insider this week, which showed that, well, actually, didn't really show much at all. The entire sample of people in the teenage age group who were surveyed was a grand total of 60 people. And from that, they decided that Facebook is less popular now than it was a year ago. I'd like to see the same survey carried out with 10,000 people, and let's see then what it is. I mean, it's not really a representative sample.
Yeah,
anyway,
we always want more.
Okay, yeah, I see also that somewhere else I read this week that Zuckerberg has a net worth greater than one of the Koch brothers, or Koch brothers. Is it Koch or Koch? K-O-C-H in the US. Don't know. Anyway, let's move on to the next one, unless there's any objections. Okay. This one, Google Glass Explorer. God, I laughed. Anyway, it was made for consumers but adopted by the enterprise. Edwin said, we did say that when Google Glass was hot.
If it was ever hot, but yeah, Google Glass was promoted as a consumer device, but I think it's more of an enterprise device. I think it was Cobol that was quite focused on all those notifications that you get in front of your eye. I don't think that was a good use, and now they found another use. In this case, they are using it for doctors.
Yeah, well, I think Google Glass failed the test, the creepiness test. People just don't want to be constantly examined, and it was creepy. And in fact, all of those top contributors, and I'm proud to know that you guys didn't fall for it, but all those top contributors with Google Glass on their profile, it only served to make them look creepy, I reckon. And also, the other comment I'd make about Google Glass, Google really gave a slap in the face to its support base. As much as I don't think Google Glass had a hope in hell of surviving, there were people that paid $1,500, and everybody paid this $1,500 to get a beta version of Google Glass, but they were just dropped mercilessly. They were just totally left out in the cold, and there they were paying $1,500 for this silly thing that just stick over an eye and make them look silly in a profile pic.
Yeah, and if you take a look at the specs of those Google Glass, that wasn't worth $1,500. I think somebody calculated it was $300 to make, right? So that's a huge markup that Google got from all those Google Glasses.
Yeah, it was a cock up from start to finish. I think that's what happens, of course. Anyway, I'm sure Google would like to forget about Google Glass and the shenanigans that went on around it. Any more comments? Okay. Google is testing a clever way to hurt one of Facebook's biggest money makers. Edwin Yonk gave me a new phrase to learn. He said, "Can I ask for ex post facto since our New Year predictions? In my opinion, this year will be about silos." What was this about? I did look at it.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago that you shared it, I think, or did I share it?
You shared it. Oh no. I shared your post, I think. Was that it? Yeah, I think that was it.
Oh.
Looking at the way it's appeared on the run list, it looks like I shared it. I shared a post of yours.
So this is essentially about the ability to download Android apps from search results, isn't it? So
Yeah.
instead of downloading apps through advertisements on Facebook, you could just download it from search results.
Yeah, I mean, more and more, both Google and Facebook are heading towards or keeping its users inside their site for as long as possible. Anyway, let's move on to the next. This is interesting that the Vine bot that leaves Twitter to join Google. Vines, I think it's a clever piece of well, is it publishing? Well, it's certainly harnessed a great deal of horsepower from social media. People creating these 9-second vines. When you consider that most of what's uploaded to Google is padded with pauses and so on, 9-second vines, you know, some of them are really good. Well, I like them anyway. Maybe it's only because I'm old. The guy that oversaw the development of the Vine is now about to join Google. There's apparently a big brain drain going on at Twitter at the moment. Lots and lots of staff are leaving. Anyway, guys, comments on this?
Yeah, I think that's the important. I think there are two big stories in a sense combined into one. One is that Twitter does seem to be in some sort of trouble. I mean, where is it heading to? Really, we discussed about raising the limit of the length of a tweet and so on and so forth. So at the moment, there seems to be quite a lot going on at Twitter, and we just don't know which way it's going to head. And at the same time, Twitter is losing a number of people. So perhaps it is an indication of troubled times at Twitter. The second, I think, big story is, the virtual reality side of things. It has always been talked about as being the next big thing, and maybe this year, with things like Google Cardboard, it might really be taking off.
Mm-hmm. And Meher Bagat posted in the chat that Twitter is also losing interest from investors. I think rumours of Twitter's death are a little bit premature.
Yeah, I think so too. But Twitter, it is a little bit strange how they organize their management.
I'm just beginning to like Twitter.
And now it dies.
Yeah, I'm the kiss of death. You wait till I get hold of Snapchat.
Yeah, maybe Google will buy Twitter, right?
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing in that I don't think Twitter is going to go away anytime soon. The question is, will it become vulnerable to takeover?
Well, I think it's fair to say that Twitter is no longer cool. It's basically populated by marketing types, and I see Tim Capper's on there. It's once upon a time was something that where there was no other form of getting the news out there, Twitter was the latest with the New World developments. These days, there are lots of other ways to get the story out. And so I think Twitter's lost its pizzazz, but it's got a loyal fan base, I think. You go ahead, Mr. Taki.
No, I was going to say it is quite popular with journalists and politicians as well. Many politicians, at least in this country, in the United Kingdom, do use Twitter quite regularly. If I had to put number of active users in the area of journalism and politics, I think Twitter will be the main one. I think people will have Facebook accounts as well and so on and so forth. But I think if there was one major tool that they're using, social media tool they're using, it would be Twitter. And similarly, I think the situation is somewhat similar in other European countries.
Yeah, it is similar here in the Netherlands.
Yeah, pretty similar here in India as well.
So, and I think people are now used to seeing embedded tweets in news articles and so on and so forth. And it's small enough and short enough, and you can quote a particular politician, a particular news agency, or so on and so forth. So I think there is a very strong user base, and that brevity, that 140 character limit, does help in defining what Twitter does and what Twitter does well. And that, I think, is to break news and to come up with sort of quotable passages. It'd be nice, short, precise, and eminently quotable in many cases.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. And if you compare it to Facebook, on Facebook there are more your friends and your family, right? That's then the 140 character limit is really a limit, right? If you want to speak to each other or send messages to each other, then 140 characters is a little bit low to your friends and family.
Yeah, and Twitter does help in, if you like, shaping the narrative of an emerging story. You have different parties putting out tweets, and news organizations, newspapers who jump on those, and often quote tweets from different sources when they construct a story and tell that story. So I think Twitter has a lot of use, and it would be a shame if it goes. I don't think it will, but it does seem to be in somewhat of uncertainty or uncharted waters at the moment.
Yeah. All right. So before we move on from this, Masataki, did Tim Kappa visit Wimbledon recently? Did he?
Hey?
Did Tim Kappa visit Wimbledon? Because I can see that he may have left his dictionary just behind you there.
Yes.
All right. Move on to the next. Snapchat may be changing the way you share live video and text messages. Snapchat could be redesigning its video and text sharing feature. I can only pass you on to our resident Snapchat specialist, Edwin Young.
Well, actually, I'm not using it that much anymore. I did use it during the summer because there are all these stories about festivals, and that's quite nice. But lately, I'm not using it anymore.
Is anybody using Snapchat?
We only had one Snapchat user. I mean, like, I'm not technically a user, but yeah, I do have an account in it, and Edwin is the king on Snapchat for us at least. Did you just check out there is anything that's new on Snapchat, the interface that is there, the message or anything that has changed recently? Because honestly, if I have to look at it, I wouldn't actually make any difference. I haven't opened my Snapchat for, I think, months now.
Oh, I got one new friend.
That's definitely new.
Mahir, you posted this one. What did the article let us know how the Snapchat design might be changing?
Jim, it's actually not official, so I don't think would be actually saying it that it's going to be changing, or this is the exact design. It might be the similar design that people have shared. It was stated that these designs were shared by Snapchat developers, but it's not confirmed. So from anyone from Twitter, anyone from Snapchat hasn't confirmed yet. So if this is the official one, but yes, if I have to admit, yes, Snapchat does need these makeovers, at least these redesigns, especially when it comes to sharing a video or a text, because people like me actually get confused and don't share anything. And this is on record. Edwin knows that because I don't know how to use it, so it's kind of complicated for me. Edwin has been using it, so he can comment, will it be better? I think it's going to be a good one, right?
I thought it was a tool for the sharing of body parts.
Did you actually even sign up, install the app? No, it's basically an app for sharing live videos or live feeds and talking to friends, and it's I think the video is within seconds, right, Edwin? How long is the video record?
A couple of seconds. I don't know. I thought it was
5 seconds.
9 or 5.
5, no, 10 seconds. Sorry, 10
yeah,
seconds,
but I think you can also make it shorter, right? You can say only 3 seconds.
Yeah, but I think the length maximum is 10 seconds. It's basically if you capture any event. A lot of people have been doing that. They go to events and Snapchat those events. And there was a case even last year. Somebody sued somebody. But yes, I mean, like, honestly, I mean, there are so many video apps that are coming along, and if they have to survive, if Snapchat has to survive, they do need a redesign. It's the laziest one, actually.
Okay.
Bottom line, Edwin is the king, Snapchat king, at least among us.
All right, let's move on to the next. I don't know if we are. We don't. That's that time again. We've covered all of the topics posted in the social media on Friday's community. No, social media Fridays on Monday community in Google+. Thank you for your interest in what we do. Your participation makes what we do worthwhile. We'll be back at the same time next week to do this all again.